Now, a powerful alliance of oil-producing nations has agreed to produce even more oil from August. The move would add to global supply as crude prices fall following the gradual reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. OPEC Plus will increase production targets by 188,000 barrels a day. This follows similar output increases announced for June and July. 7 core members of OPEC Plus increased their output quotas from April through July by almost 800,000 barrels per day. But much of that extra crude has yet to reach the market because of the US-Israeli war on Iran. According to OPEC data, the group's output fell by 9.6 million barrels a day between February and May. Despite all that, oil prices have returned to pre-war levels. The global benchmark Brent crude is now trading at around $70 a barrel. Let's speak to Alexandru Hudishtanu about this. He's a military and diplomatic analyst as well as a maritime security specialist. Thank you so much for being with us, Alexandru. So does the increase in oil output suggest that Gulf countries are expecting Hormuz, the strait, to become fully operational soon?
Yeah, I think the markets want this, and I think the region also wants to move past this conflict, past this war as soon as possible. And obviously, there's a gap in the market, and that's why we saw the oil price increase, and that's why we see now that there is trust that this memorandum of understanding will go through and will reach a form of a, let's say, more or less permanent deal in the best case scenario, which will mean some form of the Strait of Hormuz traffic to return to whatever will be the new normal after this. Obviously, the region pushes for free flow of trade, and also the world wants that. But in the end, we have to see exactly how that will basically end up being, because we've seen...
How would you characterize Iran's current control of Hormuz?
I think Iran is trying to assert itself as the only mediator of traffic to the Strait of Hormuz. We've seen yesterday an interesting incident for whoever watched the shipping pattern to the Strait. We've seen something like maybe 10 ships, I would assume 10 ships have been turned back from the Omani waters, trying to enter the Strait, trying to exit the Strait through the Omani side of the Strait of Hormuz, and they sharply turned back, out of which I think 6 or 7 I've seen following then after the Iranian mandated route, the Iranian army mandated route. That shows that even there is a break right now, a pause in the discussions for 2 different reasons. The mourning of the former supreme leader of Iran and the celebration of 250 years of independence in US. The things on the water haven't stopped, and Iran is trying to further consolidate its control, or at least to maximize this form of control they try to impose on the Strait of Hormuz, in order to create precedents, because this is actually the entire mathematics behind this monolithic control that Iran tries to portray on the Strait. Because we have seen time and again Iran claiming the customary law in practice rather than treaties, and habits make practice. So if Iran can claim later, after this war is finished or after a longer period of time, that it had detained customary control of the Strait, and then it will become their legal argument to continue to do so.
We are currently, as you suggest, in a sort of wait-and-see posture right now, as we wait to see whether the negotiations will continue and so on. What are the most likely short-term scenarios for Hormuz, considering that there is also the issue of clearing the mines from the Strait? If European countries or multinationals were to attempt demining the mine without Iran's consent, what sort of consequences would we be looking at?
I still think Iran doesn't have an appetite to attack other third-party countries in case they will come in the Hormuz, but for sure there will be immense protests, diplomatic and otherwise. And I would not be surprised to see again attacks on third parties like shipping companies or ships. So in case, and we have seen that, and this is let's say this is the situation after the war, which the shipping companies are assessing. Iran has made commitments about attacking ships that do not comply, and has put kinetic measures behind the threats, whilst, again, this is not necessarily a pattern that was not seen before. Iran has abused the Strait of Hormuz long before this war started, but they were treated as separate incidents for the longest period of time. If we can look back in 10 years, even 10 years back, we've seen maybe every year there are a couple of incidents in which Iranian Navy, IRGC Navy, has abused, attacked, or arrested ships in the Hormuz.
Now, we're also getting, Alexandru, reports that a ship has been attacked in Hodeidah in Yemen, in the Red Sea. Unclear as of now who's behind that attack. But if Hormuz continues to remain unreliable, how viable are these alternative routes like the Red Sea corridor to offset any disruption?
I mean, in the end, we have seen that there is a small bypass of oil specifically, not necessarily anything else, that can use the Red Sea corridor, especially going towards the European markets. And also, but again, Houthis have claimed, and even in the ceasefire since November 25, have claimed that they will continue to look at the situation in Gaza and they will continually threaten the maritime security whenever they need to. And they have issued this threat also in respect to the Lebanon front that Israel has established there. Now, strictly to this attack now, this suspected attack in the Red Sea, that's a bit atypical to current piracy threats, which normally stay in the Gulf of Aden off the coast of Somalia, between Somalia and Yemen. This part in the Red Sea was usually the area where Yemenis were attacking ships back in the October 23, November 25. So it's of interest now to see exactly who is behind that particular attack. If it's Yemen, if it's Houthis, Yemeni Houthis in response to that airplane incident that they claim they will have something to say about, or it's just a piracy group just extending their area of operation in the Red Sea.
All right. Thank you so much. Always interested to talk to you. Thank you for your insight. Alexandru Hudishtanu joining us here in the studio.